What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Trick 10s. Today we're working on a 2005 Ranger 520 VX. This is the 520 VX. 2005. This thing's 20 years old. Sorry, a little echo going on down here. We're in my storage shop now. This boat has been here for a little bit. I've been doing some work on it. Obviously, it doesn't look like I've done anything to it yet, but I'm about to show you guys what I've done, what we're going to do, and how this thing's going to look when it gets done is going to be completely different than the way it looks right now. A little bit of backstory on this boat. This rig belongs to Griffin Roberts. Dude is a beast. He played MLB at the St. Louis Cardinals. Pretty dope. He's a really athletic looking dude. Came over, brought this thing to me, and I was pumped to get to meet him. And not only that, but we're gonna work on his rig, and it's gonna be really cool because it's the first fiberglass bass boat that we're doing for a customer, that we're going to replace all of the lids, and we're going to be installing some CNC cut turf in it. I'm gonna turn this camera around. We're gonna check out this rig, and we're gonna get right into it. All right, so check it out, guys. This is a big boat. He's running the Lowrance trolling motor on here. Got all Lowrance graphs and stuff in this rig. Big front deck area. Now, we're replacing all of these lids. These lids are already detached, and as you can see, well, they're fiberglass, and they're wrapped in carpet. He wants to get a CNC cut turf in here, and well, you're not gonna be able to use these lids. It's because what's gonna happen is you're gonna end up with big gaps in between that rubber and the side right here, and it's gonna look silly because this carpet that wraps this, well, it allows about 1/4 inch on either side. So new lids for this, a little bit of work. It's not quite as easy as you think. These are actually tapered. Up here is longer on this side than it is up here in the front. So not only that, but you gotta figure in other things in this, like these rolls in these corners. Well, I'm gonna have to like 45 my corners of the aluminum. That way it doesn't get stuck in that corner right there. Not the end of the world, but it's not super cut and dry. Now, luckily there's only 3 hatches in this front. We are going to be doing away with one of these bases right here. He does not need one of those, so we're just gonna take the plate out and replace it with a solid plate to go on that, and then we're gonna get this whole thing scanned and CNC turf. Now, I do have the seats for this thing. They're sitting right here on this little cart. Might try to do something with that middle bench seat because he doesn't really want that. The floor. Now, the floor, he cleaned this thing up pretty good. I'm gonna try to hit it with some wax, a little buff around some of these edges. But we got lucky with the floor sitting pretty level and having a nice area to where we'll be able to install this turf without it having, you know, imperfections in the floor. So that's a big deal. Pumped about that. Back deck. Now, this is what I've started working on. I just threw all these hatches back in here so that you guys can, you know, see what it looks like before we really did anything to it. But I've got these 2 outside hatches already built. And it makes it a little difficult to do these because we got to allow gaps for the hinges, and we got to allow gaps on either sides of it. So I started with this hatch and that hatch. I figured these are going to be 2 of the harder ones in the back deck. So we start with the hard ones first. So let me set this down. All right, so look, this is what we got. Metal lid going in here. Now, the way the original lids were, they set on this rubber piece right here. Well, we are not going to be able to use that because this is only 1/8 of an inch thick, and the piece of the fiberglass that was in there is like 3/4 of an inch thick. So that means we're gonna have a 1/2 inch gap from this to the bottom of our lid. So what I did was I made the lips around here 1/8 of an inch short. And I'm gonna run a rubber track, almost like a door trim, around these hatches. And that will allow for not only to build it up, but it will give it a nice soft rubber edge up against the fiberglass versus this hard aluminum metal. Let's see if we can set this in here real easily. All right, so let's see what we got. Nice fit on these. I do have to push these over just a little bit, allow for the hinge to go in here, but I've already dry fitted these, and these fit pretty good. I got one to put on the other side. And then I'm gonna take my measurements for these 2 live well hatches and that hatch right there and this back hatch. I'm gonna get these 4 hatches right here made up today, and then we'll bring them back down here and we'll put them in this rig, and that will finish up the back deck. I'm gonna go ahead and install these with just a couple of screws. That way I know that everything is perfect, and then we're gonna get this boat scanned. After we get it scanned, I'm gonna take these hatches out and we're gonna send them off to the powder coaters. This boat is a really pretty sparkly candy apple red, and that's exactly what we're gonna go back with on the powder coat. We're going to try to get a color match as close as possible, so all of these hatches will be the same color as the actual fiberglass in the boat. It's going to be a sweet project. I'm looking forward to it, and this is something that a lot of people are going to be interested in, because a boat like this is super nice, and the only thing that you need to do to it really is to clean it up and then redo the interior, and you basically have a brand new boat. Brand new boat like this is going to cost you 100 grand. To do this to your boat, well, it's going to cost you maybe 10 grand, but it's a facelift and it looks like a brand new boat. Before I get all these other hatches made, let's check out the back end of this boat. This thing is sweet. I mean, this is a 20-foot boat. I do like the shape of this. I mean, you can definitely tell that you're hauling a boat when you're hauling this thing. This thing has got to be all of 4,000 pounds. It's got some big talons on here. These things are ginormous. And when I'm standing next to this motor, I'm 6'6", and this big old Verado on the boat, it's taller than me. It's got to be a good 6'8", easily. Well, this is a monster motor, guys. Holy cow. What a beast. And this motor obviously is not from 2005. He just put this motor on here. This thing is only a couple of years old. He bought it as old stock and got a really good price on it. This is really, honestly, the first ever bass boat I've seen with a Verado engine. A lot of them have the Pro XS's. The Verados are more of like a commercial style motor. You see these on a lot of big boats that go out on charters and stuff around my area. But first one I've ever seen on a bass boat. But thing looks super aggressive, man. All right, this is going to be a fun little project right here. I'm looking forward to getting this thing done, and I think it's going to be cool and good for the future, because this is something that a lot of people are going to be interested in. I might have to redo this on my own boat soon. Let's get right into it. All right, so check it out, guys. I got these 4 hatches made. Now, these outside ones are good. This one right here is good. I got the measurements for this one now to figure that out, but this is a pain in the ass. This back one, look, this thing is just, it sucks, because the way the boat is made is for carpet, and it has carpet gaps. So what I made with this, oh, it's too tight. I mean, it's not going to be able to open once I get the rubber trim strip on there. And it's really annoying because there's already a big gap right in here and a tiny gap here. So I was trying to get this as close as I could so that gap doesn't look gigantic right there, but it is what it is. Now, either I can shorten these pieces up and then we end up with a bigger gap back here, or I shorten this piece up and then we end up with a bigger gap in the middle. So whichever way I do it, kind of screwed. I mean, I could just cut into this hatch and steal, 8 inches out of that, but then these would not be rectangular hatches anymore. They would have this little notch out in them. I don't know, man. It's honestly beginning to be a little bit more than I bargained for. But hell, that's what I do. I get myself in over my head, and instead of drowning, we find a way to swim out. So I'm gonna go ahead and make that one, because I know the measurements on that's good. I'm gonna think on this because I don't really have an answer for it. I don't think there's a cut and dry, perfect answer for it at all. So we'll get that one made. We'll circle back. Let's get back to work. All right, guys, so check it out. This has been a bit of a learning curve. I knew it was gonna be a pain in the ass because it's the first time we've ever done this. But there was a lot to take into consideration when figuring out all these gaps and everything, like the fact that this drops down 1.5 inches. Well, then when you actually allow your bend allowance, you bend it at 1.25 inches, then it grows 1/8 of an inch from the thickness, puts you at 1 3/8 inches, and then we're gonna run the rubber trim strip around it. That's gonna give us our extra 1/8 of an inch to get us up to the 1.5 inches. Yeah, it's a lot going into them. And then you got to take into consideration the gaps that you're going to leave in here. Now, a lot of times I like to leave these gaps real tight, 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 maximum. We're going to need at least about 1/4 inch in here, because that rubber on the bottom that we're putting on for our trim strip, it's got to have room, because when this comes back, it comes up and at an angle, but it also needs to have that clearance in there. Got these 4 done. This one's done too. I actually took that one down to the other shop. Austin just ran down there. He's going to grab that and bring that back. I'm going to dry fit everything. Back deck is finished up. I did run into some more issues with these. Go figure. Every corner of this hatch is not square. Now, when I originally looked at it, I thought these were 90 degrees. Well, they're not. Just keep that into consideration if you do one of these, because nothing on this entire lid configuration on any of these in this front deck are 90 degrees square, but they look pretty good. I mean, we got this thing figured out pretty good. It's got a little bit bigger gap right here, but that's okay. And I'll show you why I did that, because if you look over there on the other side, well, the way the lid sits up on it, we don't want the lid to sit back too far, or else it's going to end up hanging off right here. See, so where we're at right now, by the time we get that rubber trim strip on there, I mean, it's only going to be sitting in about 1/8 of an inch right here. Now there's a big gap on the inside where it sits in. That's exactly the way the original lids were installed. Now, if I was going to go back and do this all over again, I would have taken that into consideration, and I probably would have had this door come over maybe another 3/4 of an inch. That would have put us with a little bit less of a ledge right there, but with the original lids in there, that's exactly the way it was. So back to what I was saying about this front lip right here though, you can see in order to keep both of these hatches straight and in line, well, we ended up with a little bit bigger gap right there. Not the end of the world. We are on to the last hatch, guys. This is it right here. I gotta make this hatch. This one's not square. It tapers. This front is shorter and the back is longer, but it is what it is. I'm gonna probably stop this one a little bit short right here too. That way we can try to keep this same continuous ledge that's gonna roll around here. And I think they would just look better that way. Austin's got our hatch. Moment of truth. The last piece on the back deck. Let me pull these hinges back. Nice. Now, this is the one that we ran into the issue where we were having either the gap here or notching this, and we just left the gap in the center. I think it looks fine. Once everything gets turf, it's gonna be spot on. It's all starting to come together though, finally. We're gonna go ahead and build this last hatch. We're gonna dry fit everything. We're gonna cut all our holes for all our handles. We'll get our stiffeners put on the back of all these hatches. And then we're gonna send these things off to the powder coaters. Let's get back to work. All right guys, so we got all of these hatches built. This is a little bit of a pain in the ass, man. I'm not gonna lie. Threw me for a loop with some of these not having any square corners on them, but they look good. They've got pretty constant gaps in them. I'm happy with them. That's the front deck finished, back deck, all ready to roll. We've got hinges just sitting in here for our spacing, so you can figure out how everything's gonna sit, and it's good. Now that we're at this stage of the game, we gotta put our holes in here for all of our handles, and we gotta put some stiffeners underneath here for support, and then we're gonna put these in here with a couple of screws temporarily, get this whole boat scanned. We'll send them off to powder coaters. We'll go ahead and get this stuff rolling. Once we get everything installed temporarily and it's all mocked up, we'll circle back. Let's get back to work. All right guys, so as you just saw, Brian with Seaside came by, super cool dude. I'm so lucky to have him around here, man. He always helps me out, and he does a killer job scanning these boats. If you're local, you want to get your boat scanned or some CNC turf installed, I'll send you directly to him, Brian at Seaside Customs, and go check him out. Anyways, guys, this boat is going to be sick, man. We got all the lids done. The lids were a little bit more than I bargained for. A little bit of a pain in the ass, but I mean, everything looks good. We got a nice fit on it, and we got all the handles installed and the pistons installed. Now the rear hatch has a piston in it, and all 3 front hatches have a piston in it. We did do a little bit of modifications and change ups on this center section right here, because the way this live well originally came, it was a dual door. We made that into 1 door, and then we flipped the cooler hinge around to the opposite side, so it opens towards the back of the seats versus opening the opposite direction. And with it opening towards the back of the boat, was kind of funky because it had like an L-shaped hinge in there, and I didn't really want to go back with that. It was gonna interfere with the way that my lids and my spacing worked out. So the customer was cool with doing it that way, and I think it looks better. Now, the boat scan is pretty neat, man. That machine that he used, that Proteum 10, it's pretty expensive machine, and I'm thankful that he's here, because without him, I would have to buy one of those machines. Now, we scanned around all of the stuff up here. You can see I went ahead and put in like his boat buckles, and we got his trim piece and his graph bridge and everything. That way we can get a scan, a 3-dimensional of exactly what's in the boat, what's going to be in here. And then when we get the turf back, everything should be custom cut to fit in here perfectly. Now, Brian does have a deal with TITOK where he gets his turf cut. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be using him for this. Nothing against him, but I like to get my turf from. I think that they have one of the best, if not the best, options of CNC cutting the turf. I mean, the work that they put out is phenomenal, and the ghosting pattern and everything about the design, I think it's hot, man. I mean, for me, I just feel like I gotta have the coolest shit, and that's where it's at. So I'm going to be sending off all the files that Brian gave me to, and we're gonna get them to come up with a design for this thing. And we're going with the dark gray on the top and the red bottom, but they have the capabilities of doing some ghosting and stuff, and they'll turn that dark gray into light gray, and they'll turn this entire boat into a masterpiece. I've seen it happen many times, and I don't think they're gonna disappoint with this one. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna get all of these lids out of here now. I gotta take the hinges off of them. They're just put in there with like 2 or 3 fasteners because we had to get this thing scanned. But now, all these hatches are going to be getting powder coated, hopefully the same color as this candy apple red sparkle that's in the boat, or something very close to it. I'm going to get these things out of here. I'm going to get these off of the powder coaters, and then we'll circle back. Let's get right into it. All right, guys, so we made it. Now, it was a learning curve to figure out all of the hatches that are going in here. These new lids were pretty difficult, but we got them all made. We did get the boat CNC scan, and we've got the hatches back from powder coat. We also have the turf. We are ready to rock and roll with this build. Getting ready to start putting these hatches in here. Got to put everything in and make sure that all the CNC turf fits before we stick it permanently. Let's get right into it, guys. All right, so we got all of the hatch lids installed, and the red on them, it's pretty close. I mean, originally I wanted to go with the candy with the sparkle, and my powder coater was having some issues with running both. I don't know, I'm not a professional powder coater, so I don't understand, but regardless, I had to choose one. We chose the candy. I just think it looks cooler. But it does look really good, man. I mean, we got some good tight gaps in here. Only space it's a little bit bigger is this one right here. And there was really no way that I could have made this any different and made that work. Front deck looks really good. All these hatches are just temporarily installed because we got to come back and put all the rivets in here. I just want to make sure that everything is going to work and all our spacing is right. One last fit check. These hatches just have 2 screws in them, so we're going to lay out all the sheet turf in here and make sure that everything is sitting the way that it's supposed to be, and then we'll put all these hatches in here permanently, and then we'll get this thing turf. Austin pulled some of the turf out over there. Let's go check this thing out and see what we got. This is a C-Deck colorway, and it's the charcoal over the red. It looks really good. We got a whole kit over here in this box, lots of pieces, and hopefully there's some instructions down in there to tell us how this thing lays out. Let's get back to work. All right, every piece is here and everything looks like it's gonna fit pretty good. Obviously, it's all rolled up because it was shipped in a box, not a big deal. We're gonna let it sit out like this overnight. It's a good thing if you're doing turf like this to lay it out and just let it kind of sit out because it will kind of works when it rolls out and make it a little easier for the install. For the most part, it looks like everything fits up pretty well. There's a couple things that are gonna be a little tough, like this piece right here. They made this so thin. Those little pieces like that kind of scare me because it's easy for them to rip, but it's just 2 spots really. We got that one, and then we got this big piece on the side. Well, they made that wrap all the way back up here, and well, you can see it's already pinched up pretty good. So I'm trying to get this thing to lay flat, and it's just a little nerve-wracking when you're installing it with those little pieces like that, because the last thing I want to do is rip it. Honestly, it probably would have been better if they would have just brought this out and go ahead and finish this off to where they would have met as 2 separate pieces, but not a big deal. It is what it is. Look at this though. Floor piece is dope. Ranger logo in there. And then we got this piece, which I think was supposed to be for this piece on the side, but it got cut wrong. I don't think it was cut wrong. I think it was actually scanned wrong. Regardless, we'll make it work. Front deck looks really dope though. I love this cutout, like the pattern. It looks cool. It's got his fish tape in the center right there. Big front deck. But yeah, man, pretty hype. Looks pretty cool. I'm gonna let this thing sit out overnight, and then we'll start cleaning up this boat and getting everything ready, and we'll permanently install all this turf, and then we'll circle back. Let's get back to work. All right, guys, check it out, man. This thing looks so good. The turf has turned out perfect. Changes the whole look of the boat, man. Pump. It's pretty simple to install it. Everything was a perfect fit. Sorry, we got a little echo in here, but man, this thing is sick. Check out the floor down here and the console. Really cool. Pump, man. The guy's coming to pick this up in 2 days. I actually talked to him last night, and he wants to get one of my dual graph bridges. So we're not going to install this for him because we're getting one. I actually took one today to the powder coaters, and it's going to get done in that red metallic color, just like the rest of these lids in here did. They turned out good. Super dope. Candy red. All new hatch handles in here. These are the stainless locking compression handles. All of them have it. Looks really cool. Got the fish ruler right there in the middle box. This looks so aggressive, man. I love the way they cut this out like that with the pattern in it, man. Really neat. Sick upgrade. Definitely brings this 20-year-old boat back to life. And now it looks like a brand new boat. Pretty cool. If you guys are interested in something like this, then hit me up. And we can make your old boat look brand new again. I mean, look at that. Whew. Jeez. Sick upgrade for the Ranger. All right, guys, so cool project, man. This is the first fiberglass boat remodel that I've done for a customer, especially with all new lids and CNC turf. Now, this is something that a lot of you guys might be interested in because, you know, it costs $100,000 if you want to go buy a brand new bass boat. But if you have one that's still working pretty good, you just want to do a little remodel on it, make it look a little nicer, well, something like this might be exactly what you're looking for. Basically have the feel of a brand new boat. Don't have to worry about the price tag of a brand new boat. Anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all hanging out with us today. Hit that like, subscribe button, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about the video. See you guys in the next one. Let's get back to work.